Jaime, it's a pleasure to meet you. First of all, I suppose an obvious question, why did you create this collection for Bisazza Bagno?
Well, why is because we sort of share the same ideals on what a bathroom should be like, you know. There is this scare of refinement, of this idea of using good materials and so on. So we sort of match in this idea of let's make something that is really special, that it's out of the typical square sanitary thing that you see around, you know. I've been thinking on bathrooms for 8 years, and I still go around the fair and I still look that people are so not passionate about creating something away from the typical, you know, edgy thing. So there's a lot to do, you know, and for me it's you know, there's a very natural way in which we approach this bathroom, which is definitely to have pieces that are more thought as furniture, pieces that can be moved in different ways. I mean, the bathrooms are changing, the way that people live is changing a lot. There's a lot of spaces that today they're in lofts, you know, people like to share areas. There's elements that you can take out of the bathroom, such as mirrors, cabinets, a lot of different things, shelving systems. So I think we brought a lot of innovation by doing that, you know, and it's very natural because we both share this sophistication, as I said.
Why do you think that hasn't been done before? Why do you think there's been a sort of...
I have no idea. Well, you know, I'm actually impressed that it hasn't been done before because, you know, it's quite... I think it's quite obvious that, you know, the bathrooms have always been in the time, I mean, from Cleopatra time to Roman time to the last century, bathrooms have always been a place of pleasure, a place in which people enjoy, you know, in which people used to eat in the bath, in which people used to be with a few people in the bath. I mean, it's interesting how in the last 50 years, and even less, I would say, from the beginning of this very sharp sort of minimalistic thought, things have started to become so boring. I mean, what happened in the bathrooms, you know? What happened? Why the living rooms developed, the kitchens developed, why, you know, you have these incredible techniques done by really nice, smart designers and architects in the world within the areas of the living room and so on. Why don't you have that in the bathroom? The bathroom seems like to be a sort of a taboo space in which, I mean, you almost think like you gotta die in the bathroom instead of live in the bathroom, you know, and it's quite, you know, I'm quite impressed about that, and I think what we tried is to give the bathroom a new life, you know, by making baths that are enjoyable with nice materials. And it's not about the excess, it's not about this baroquism and all these trends that are horrible. It's not about that. It's about being really refined. There's a line of refinement, there's a line of sophistication, there's use of very good materials, and we are really aware of that. And obviously it is functional, but at the same time it has this passion charge, and this is what we're looking for, you know, definitely.
I think that's a really interesting point, the idea of function. I think traditionally, well, certainly in the kind of second half of the 20th century, bathrooms have followed quite a functional aesthetic. Maybe that's a legacy from modernism.
Maybe.
Your work seems to kind of do a lot of things. I just wondered whether one of the functions of your work is also irony, maybe. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, irony is quite interesting anyway, but I think for me the most important is to have a good combination of recipes here. You know, in one side you complement with the function, but on the other side you want, you know, certain charm in the pieces. You know, there's certain humor as well sometimes, you know, with elements. There's a combination of material which is not obvious sometimes. You know, you have the wood, you have the glass, you have the marble, you have the edges, you have a certain type of details that give value to certain materials, like the marble. When you edge it and you do a bevel, you see the thickness of it. Or, you know, when you think about the copper we have used, it's so complicated to make it, you know, at the end with a copper that it doesn't get green, that is certified, or a lamp, you know, that is so feminine and simple, but at the end it's certified to have water. I mean, they drop water for 2 hours into it until we got the certification that it's waterproof. You know, there is a challenge by doing that, and I think the fact is that there's so much to do. You know, I would like to scream out in this type of fair, hey people, wake up, because there is so much to do than just making technical things. You know, I was just around and I've heard people in a stand explaining how they gain 30 centimeters in a shower by doing a certain hinge, and you're like, all right, great, but I'm trying to do is the opposite of that. I'm trying to give joy to it, and it doesn't. You don't need necessarily to have a huge bathroom, and you don't need to be super wealthy to buy inside this bathroom. This bathroom starts from really simple to much more sophisticated. It's a collection that is growing, and I think together with Bisazza, we had the ground to experiment and to try things, and we will keep doing that. And I think that's what I like the most, you know.
And given that it was a challenge for you as well, I mean, what did you learn?
I learned a lot of things. But you know, when you combine materials together, it's not the obvious solution. You got to find a lot of fusion. You know, you have to understand that, for example, me, I'm someone that challenges companies because I want to work with artisans. So there is a certain love to the piece. For example, we take a machine to cut the marble, but to polish it and to make the sort of beveled look to it, to give that quality, you have someone polishing as well by hand. So there's a combination that it's absolutely beautiful. And to think about that, the strategy of thinking to the product, it's what it has been a challenge. And what I've understood after 10 years, and the only thing I've understood that I'm completely sure is that it is so beautiful to learn. It is what it makes you be alive. And there's never an end to a project. There's always this constant thought. And this is what design is about. This is what design it is about. You know, it's about research. It's about confrontation and working with people that really care about the word design and nothing else than that, you know.
And with that in mind, is there a particular type of project or a certain kind of sector of design manufacturing that would really appeal to you to work in?
I don't know. Well, I guess I could work in the kitchen world, for example. It could be quite interesting. But I've done a lot of furniture, and I've worked in, you know, I'm making watches now. I'm making, you know, I love to make some glasses. You have good ones, actually.
Thanks. I'll tell you later whether it's not on camera.
Not on camera. But for me, you know, there is no one discipline. You know, I believe in a lot of categories. And that's the pleasure of my life, man. Like to wake up and say, okay, well, today I got to do this completely different than yesterday. And it makes life very, very active and very beautiful. And so many methods, so many materials. You're keeping learning all the time. And I think it's so nice. You know, I love that very much. Yeah.
Jaime, thanks very much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yeah, take care. The glasses now. No, they're really nice, huh?
It is coming. Yeah, it is coming.